Imagine two members of a family. They share a long and complicated history. They have deep cultural and linguistic ties, yet they live in separate houses. They have different rules. They have fundamentally different ideas about how they should live their lives. This is in many ways the story of China and Taiwan. The People's Republic of China, or PRC, is a vast nation on the mainland. It is governed by the Communist Party. Across a narrow body of water, the Taiwan Strait, is the island of Taiwan. Its official name is the Republic of China, or ROC. To understand today's tensions, we must go back in time. We need to look at the Chinese Civil War. This was a long and brutal conflict. It was fought between two main groups: nationalists, Chiang Kai-shek, communists, Mao Zedong. After Japan's defeat, the Civil War resumed with even greater intensity. By 1949, the tide had turned decisively. The communists had gained the upper hand on the mainland. Facing total defeat, Chiang Kai-shek and his nationalist government made a momentous decision. They retreated. About 2 million people fled across the Taiwan Strait. For many years after 1949, Taiwan was not a democracy. It was ruled under martial law by Chiang Kai-shek and the Nationalist Party. The government suppressed dissent and maintained the goal of retaking the mainland. The official identity was Chinese. The language taught in schools was Mandarin. But beneath the surface, a generation was being born and raised on the island. For them, the mainland was a distant place they had never seen. Their home, their life, their future. The major turning point came in the late 1980s and 90s. The first direct presidential election was held in 1996. People could now speak freely. They could form parties that challenged old narratives. A new sense of being Taiwanese, not just Chinese, began to flourish. They participate internationally under compromises, but many see Taiwan as already independent. To understand China's position on Taiwan, we must understand the concept of national sovereignty and historical narrative. For the CCP, Taiwan is not just an island. It is a symbol, the final, unfinished chapter of the Chinese Civil War. Bringing Taiwan back under mainland control is a cornerstone of the CCP's legitimacy. It is presented as a sacred mission to achieve national rejuvenation. The official policy is the One China principle. There is only one sovereign state called China, and the PRC is its sole legitimate government. Any suggestion of Taiwanese independence is seen as separatism and a direct challenge to China's sovereignty. They have not renounced the use of force to prevent formal independence. Beijing proposes a one country, two systems framework. But the erosion of Hong Kong's freedoms has convinced most Taiwanese it is not viable. China uses its economic and diplomatic power to pressure international organizations and countries to isolate Taiwan. This diplomatic isolation is a key part of Beijing's strategy. The United States plays a unique and critical role in the Taiwan-China conflict. It's often described as a delicate balancing act. In 1979, the U.S. shifted recognition to the People's Republic of China while Congress passed the Taiwan Relations Act. The Taiwan Relations Act became the foundation of the unofficial U.S.-Taiwan relationship. It says the U.S. will maintain commercial and cultural relations and supply defensive weapons to Taiwan. That led to a policy called strategic ambiguity, intentionally unclear about whether the U.S. would defend Taiwan militarily. Recently, this balance has been tested as China's military has grown more powerful and assertive. Some call to end ambiguity and adopt strategic clarity, while others warn clarity could provoke Beijing. For now, the U.S. walks a tightrope, selling arms to Taiwan while officially acknowledging Beijing's One China position. It's a complex dance that shapes the entire dynamic of the conflict. The Taiwan Strait is, without a doubt, one of the most heavily militarized areas in the world. The People's Liberation Army has undergone massive modernization, developing capabilities aimed at a potential conflict over Taiwan. This includes a large navy, advanced fighter jets, an enormous arsenal of ballistic missiles positioned on coasts opposite Taiwan. In response, Taiwan maintains a professional military focused on defense, often called a porcupine strategy. That means investing in anti-ship missiles, sea mines, and mobile air defenses to make invasion costly. China has ramped up gray zone tactics, aggressive actions that fall short of war. Frequent flights into Taiwan's ADIZ force scrambles, wearing down pilots and equipment. These actions are a constant reminder of the military threat and drain Taiwan's resources. For everyday people, sirens and drills have become a regular part of life, a strategy of attrition and psychological pressure. For the 24 million people of Taiwan, the conflict is not an abstract geopolitical issue. You go to school, hang out with friends, use social media, you live in a free and open society, Yet you also live with the knowledge a powerful neighbor claims your home and threatens to take it by force. Tension creates a unique psychological environment, a mix of pride and persistent low-level anxiety. Taiwan has regular civil defense drills, air raid sirens blare across cities and people practice seeking shelter. Society debates military readiness and mandatory service while families worry about their children's futures. On the mainland, state media and education teach that Taiwan is part of the motherland. Public opinion favors reunification. Many families have relatives on both sides. Business and cultural ties persist despite political strain. Taiwanese travel to the mainland and mainland tourists visit Taiwan. Those connections are strained by politics. A casual social media comment can spark heated arguments between friends or relatives. Ordinary people who share culture and language must navigate a deep, often painful divide. Despite political tensions, the economies of China and Taiwan are incredibly intertwined. This economic relationship is a classic double-edged sword. Taiwanese businesses invested heavily in mainland China, drawn by lower labor costs and vast markets. They helped fuel China's economic boom and made many Taiwanese companies wealthy. Taiwan is a world leader in semiconductors, tiny chips that power smartphones, computers, cars, and advanced weapons systems. One Taiwanese company produces a majority of the world's most sophisticated chips, creating what some call a silicon shield. But economic ties are also leverage. Beijing can restrict trade or make life difficult for Taiwanese firms on the mainland. Taiwan has worked to diversify trade and investment to reduce dependency. A conflict would devastate global supply chains and trigger international sanctions, a risk that constrains Beijing as well. Looking ahead, the path for both China and Taiwan is filled with immense challenges and very few easy answers. The fundamental disagreement over sovereignty remains as deep as ever. For Taiwan, the main challenge is to maintain de facto independence and democratic life while strengthening self-defense and international support. This requires bolstering defenses and building unofficial relationships with like-minded democracies. For China, backing down risks domestic political costs. Acting risks catastrophic war and economic fallout. For Washington, maintaining open lines of communication with Beijing is crucial to avoid miscalculation. There are hopes dialogue and cultural ties can build understanding, replacing threats with cooperation. But the current reality is rising tensions and deep mistrust. The stakes could not be higher for people on both sides and for global peace.